Welcome back to the Orca Shop. My name's Rod. So we're back working on Scout, and this is episode 9, and in this episode I'm going to cover how I got the main deck in, because we replaced the main deck, the foam deck that came with the kit, with a nice marine plywood deck. So let's get to it. Alright, I think it's time to see how the deck, the main deck seating area here is going to fit. Down to there. So we're pretty flush on this edge here, but not flush with the underlying deck doubler. It's aft a little bit, and I can see where I have drawn the box opening for the box to come through the deck is probably a quarter of an inch aft. So thankfully I didn't cut that hole out at the time. The question would be is, I think the whole thing has to shift forward, but it cannot shift forward because it's touching the side here. So I guess it's time to start shaving down the bow end of the main deck to see if it just keeps shifting forward, and see if I can line up where that hole or that opening is going to go for the box to come through. It's not going to matter too much as far as these two here. They will be in the right position, as will the main opening here, but I'm definitely not going to cut open the opening for the mast tube to go through, because I think once I get this position where I want it, I can just go underneath and trace. So, yes, you can see there's some gapping going on in here. It's just not going down because the box is extending up. So we'll just start seeing if we can. Come on. Lifting up. This out. Just start shaving this off. Closer.
You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me fear.
So not surprising.
I don't wanna jinx it, baby. And twist myself at the spine.
Close to flushing here. Now this does not have to be a perfect fit, because there will be a massive fillet going through here. Excuse me, anyways. And shave a little bit there. Here. Pretty well all the way through that side. And looking at where the box is sitting, we are still not as far forward as I would like to be, although I don't want to undercut this. Alright, I think we need to cut out, but what I see is this hole needs to be at least, I don't know, use this as a time to just go ahead. Alright, time to get the jigsaw out here and do a cut. Kind of stabilized on something. Alright, well, let us just see how that's going to drop in there. It's a pretty ugly cut, but trying to go round corners and all. Come on. Not quite going all the way down. I'm just going to get a rasp out and clean up a bit. Ow. Okay, it's down. Right, so that's going to sit there. Good all the way around. And this will go down with some trimming on the perimeter. Yeah, it's all the outside perimeter that is too wide. And it's going down all the way around the front here. That's good. So, I suppose then it's time to just take it off, cut these hatch openings. If I was to drill a hole in here and use a bottom bearing guide, I can trim the hole. So, if I just go into here and kind of go there, sort of center, so I can get a drill bit into there big enough and then feed the bearing guide in. Just using a spade bit to blow a hole through sort of what would be considered the center of the hole here. Didn't want to tear too much out. So we know that's going to line up perfectly. That fits over there. I guess I can just cut out the other hatches. And with the main deck sitting on this small bulkhead here, there's not really a lot of surface area here. So I think it's probably going to be good, and maybe even up in the front as well, the fore section, is to actually glue on a couple of small pieces of wood, epoxy them onto there. So then you have maybe an inch of surface area purchase power to grab and bite. so you can get some thickened epoxy under there. For that, I don't think we need anything super strong, so we'll just cut a couple of pieces of cedar in there. I do believe that I now have the main seating panel here ready to install. I'm just going to cut out the hatch openings, and then I need to just kind of clean everything up, scuff sand everything as needed, and vacuum it all out. Now I suppose that I need to scuff sand the bottom side a bit in the areas that have been in contact. Okay, we clean that up now. Okay, I think we are ready. Time to mix up a big pile of goo. Alright, well, let's hope I've mixed up enough goo here. I'm going to lay it down with a brush and then follow up with a notched trowel to get a good even coat. So I'm not gluing that section in right now, so I need to get that epoxy off. We can clamp down around the edges and put a lot of weight everywhere else. To hold the outside perimeter of the main deck down, I just cut some sticks at a proper length so that I could just wedge between pushing the deck down, which sits on the lap, and tucking it underneath the gunnel. Or lumber there, but I need to get that epoxy off there first. Okay, well that can be just scuff sanded tomorrow or the next day when we put the other pieces in. I think it's going to be best to kind of just wedge this all down because I kind of want to kind of tack weld this with bits of epoxy. In case. And use the leftover epoxy to just push some down into those little gaps to tack it in place. Okay, I think I need to leave well enough alone. We're going to let that sit there till tomorrow. To complete the main seating area or main deck, I just need sort of a cleat in here to hold the second piece. We're just clamping a scrap piece of plywood, which I coated with 2 coats of epoxy all the way around, scuff sanded, and have just glued on with some fast setting epoxy and thickened up with some silica. I think I'll add one more clamp to make sure the center is in. Okay, we'll let that set for a few hours, and then I can glue in the last section here. Well, I don't know what I was thinking yesterday when I put this deck in, because I was planning to cut out the hatches beforehand. It's not really a huge issue. There shouldn't be any, there's nothing really underneath there, but you know, I'm just going to end up with dust and shavings inside the compartments after I vacuumed it all out nicely. But just going to drill a hole, and then I'm just going to jigsaw these out. Fit. Hole does not need to be perfect because we have the flange and there will be a bedding compound, so I'll do that to make them fit. So I need that and that. Right, I suppose I'm able to cut down the box. I'm just going to use again a flush cutting saw. Okay, that was a bit more of a struggle than I was anticipating. Okay, I think that's that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a long drill and I'm going to drill a couple of holes down through the box so that when the boat is flipped over, I can flush trim out the bottom of the opening. Then I'll leave that. Then from the outside, I'll just put drill a bigger hole. It'll be easier, so that I can get my flush cutting router bit in there and trim the inside of the box. Just gives me a reference point to where to start. Now that I have my cleat in to glue this small section of panel tube, I am going to see how this one fits into there, and just run the pin down there. It's not that I need to shave to that line, but it'll indicate to me where it's heavy. So we're a lot thicker in the middle here, so I'm going to attempt to shave. Now I'm also going to shave on an under bevel, because we've got the angle of the planking. Fit. Pretty happy with that. Now I need to cut this edge here. Cut that on the bandsaw outside the line and then clean it up till it just drops in there. Better to take a little bit at a time than too much all at once. Right, I think we are ready to slop on some thickened epoxy. And because I planed this down to bare wood after I had already coated it in epoxy, I want to make sure there are no areas that are not saturated in resin, because otherwise, a little bit of water in there, things can start to rot. All right, I think that's all we're going to cover in this episode. Now I am going to trim up the edge of the plywood with some little pieces of mahogany, which we'll get to in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please consider giving me a thumbs up or becoming a subscriber. See you next time.